MyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? So if you woke up today, like me, you woke up to some pretty cool stuff, right? Oh, man. Oh, man. Now let's do it as a poll. Have you invested in yourself today? Yes, no, doing it right now. Oops. And you gotta get rid of that one, and there you go. Okay, I like to have at least something in there for you guys. So, have you invested in yourself today? There's actually a lot that went on today. So the Senate passed, they passed some bills. There's going to be a partial shutdown. Why is there going to be a partial shutdown? Because, well, the House of Representatives is out. So I think they're supposed to be back on Monday. Here's the problem. Couldn't they have voted remotely? That's one. Or there could be procedures that they have to go through. I'm not 100% sure. But weather might be a problem for Monday. Weather could be a problem, so we're going to have to wait and see. But they have some kind of a deal. They're kicking the can down the road for 2 weeks on the bill in question, you know, the one that's supposed to fund DHS, ICE. So that's going to be something that'll be interesting, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm kind of like, well, you know, the government's not going to completely shut down. It'll be a partial shutdown, and then boom, you know, back for the races. The idea is that you only have a runway of 2 weeks to figure out that DHS problem. Maybe they'll do it. I don't know. We'll see. Right? We'll see. So other things happened today. That was a good thing, right? Markets kind of came back. Kevin Warsh has been selected to be nominated as the Fed chair. Selected to be nominated. I guess there still has to be an official procedure to actually nominate him, and we'll see what happens with that. But that should be all right. I don't know that this guy is going to be a lackey. I have a strange idea that he might be independent, which is what we need. He was a Fed governor before, which adds to my idea that I think he might be independent. We'll see. We'll see how that all works out. Like I said, current guy in the Oval Office nominated Powell, and Powell was able to stick to his guns and do what he felt was right. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. You didn't get things wrong. You didn't get things right. And that is in no way an easy job. In no way is that an easy job. I believe that Mirren, who currently sits in the chair, might be able to be extended for a little while. We'll see what happens with that. He was a dissenter in the past week. He thought we should have dropped some interest, you know, some points. He felt the same way the last time, and I'm sitting here and I'm kind of going, where's your data? Where are you getting your data from? Was he chair? I don't think he was ever a chair. I think he was just a governor. But my question is, you know, where's the data for all the cuts this guy Mirren wanted? Glad he wasn't selected. But where's the data for that? Where's the data that supports that? Have you not seen all of the jobs that are being cut? Like, where does this guy live? Sometimes I think, I absolutely think that guy would completely be a lackey. Completely be a lackey. My man, Rick Ritchie, what's going on? Hutanic, what's going on? Have you both invested in yourself? I know Rick Ritchie has. But I'm like, yeah, I just don't. I find that guy to be a problem. I find him to be a problem. Because everybody that's saying that, you know, they want cuts. I see them two ways. One, they're trying to kiss tail. Two, well, they don't know what they're talking about. Because every time you say, you know, I want to cut rates, it's based on what? And I haven't heard an answer yet. Like a viable answer that can't get shot down real quick. I'm just like, all right, so what are you basing that on? Where's the data? Where's the data that backs up that decision, that fortifies that decision? Nah, son, not there. You've got major companies having major layoffs. More to come. Mind you, these are companies that are making money. Maybe not UPS, but most of the companies out there doing these layoffs because times are good, and they're kind of like, yeah, we're going to do these layoffs, and that's it. You're making money. What are you talking about, layoffs? Just where are you going with that? I don't get it. I don't get it. So I just find it to be funny. I just find it to be funny. So, you know, I look at people and I just kind of go, you sure about that? You sure that's what you want to do? You 100% positive? You want to drop rates? This is why I say listen to the Fed and listen to people that are around, because I just want to know how you're thinking. I want to know how you're thinking. I don't want to hear all this rambling on about, oh, well, the economy seems well and blah, blah, blah. But I hear people talking about a K-shaped recovery. People that have are spending and people that are not are not. Why is this so hard to understand? I don't get it. I don't get it. So I find all this stuff to be funny. Kevin is hawkish. Believe we need rate cuts, but high inflation will run rapid. So I think he's just, you got to use periods, man. So I think he's just another pawn in the game. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to wind up being a lackey. Remember, once you've got that job, you're not getting fired unless you do something illegal, son. So I'm here to stay, buddy. You know what I mean? So you can stand your ground. What are you going to do? Fire me? You can't. Shut up. Unless I am truly doing something awry or amiss, you're not getting rid of me. So I don't have to bow to you. You can't, think about this. You can talk a lot of crap in the news, but you really can't even make my life more difficult. Think about that. Powell paid him not some mind, but no mind at all. Even on camera. Do you remember when they were at the construction site? And he went, that man has no F's to give. So I think whoever inherits that spot, you could hear a lot of rhetoric about your name, right? And as long as you don't let that get to you, there's nothing anybody can actually do to you. Yeah, buddy, I'm down with that. I am down with that. We need independence in that role. We absolutely need independence in that role. Again, I'll go on record. I have a problem trying to listen to somebody who's bankrupted 4 casinos. I mean, that's not even that's not the highest count of bankruptcies he's had, but 4 casinos. You rocked 4 casinos. Like, what? That's a special gift. No. Think about what you're saying. A pawn is somebody that can be manipulated. He wasn't manipulated. You can lay blame at his feet, but he was not manipulated. That is a pawn. Pawns get manipulated. You can move pawns how you want to move them. You can sacrifice pawns how you want to sacrifice them. But all he did was talk crap about the man. And the man let his record show. It's going to be hard for you in particular to talk crap about me. That's what really got me. I think that's what really got me. Because I listen to people talk a lot of crap about anybody in that position. And what I took from it was, you could talk a lot of crap about people in that position, but can you do the job? Because if you can't do the job, then you really have nothing to say, right? You've got between jack and squat to say about it. That's what I mean. So I'm just like, whatever. So you nominate a guy who used to be a governor. He knows the role. He knows the rules, regulations. He's rocked through it all that time. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't see. I just don't see the ability. Imagine if this guy walks in the door and he looks at all the data and he just goes, "Yeah, I'm not feeling that. We could take a vote, but I'm voting like this. I'm not feeling that idea." Is the new regime going to talk about him too? A lot of people on the street are thinking the same way I'm thinking. This guy is going to be independent. Sometimes the decisions might coincide with what you thought should happen, and sometimes they won't. It's the sometimes they won't that people are counting on. Okay, this is not a political conversation. It's not a political conversation. It's about how we're managing interest rates, how we're managing inflation, how we're managing jobs. Not politics. Yeah, he didn't pick Powell for no reason either. Whatever argument you have, same argument for Powell. Same. I don't he could wind up being a little kiss behind, but I don't think he will be. I think he will realize, "Oh, I can't be touched? Wait, what? For 5 years? Oh, okay. I'm going to do what I want. The only way to get me out of this role is if I leave on my own." I'm not he's not an old man either. So he's got time. And thank you for letting us know that you invested in yourself. But I understand what you're saying, Rick. I totally understand what you're saying. Totally understand what you're saying. And I get it. So disagreeing with you, but not necessarily disagreeing with you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of like right there. I gotta. It's one thing to be standing there taking pictures and all that kind of crap, and then another thing to actually say and do your job. Forget about the behind the scenes. Oh, we were smiling and we took pictures. Still hate each other. That could still happen. That happens every day. So yeah, I'm thinking about that. Yeah, that's 100% political. We'll ditch that. But I can understand why you would think that Powell was a pawn. I think he wanted Powell to be a pawn, and he realized he's not. He's like a knight. He's gonna act independently. He's gonna do what he does. I'm gonna hop this way and I'm gonna move to the side, just like a knight. I'm gonna do what I have to do. And I think that's how the market responded. Is good choice with this guy. Kevin Hassert, the other guy, on the other hand, woo. I don't think a nose could get any browner unless your name was Giuliani. Again, my thing is, if we're in a K-shaped economy, and those that have are able to spend, and those that don't have are unable to spend, how do you manage that economy? Hutanek, you and I are in the same boat. It's like I buy just a little too soon. It's like, dang, I could have got that. Dang. But then again, I'm also like, well, I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm absolutely going to keep it moving. The hours I keep, sleep is an investment. I would count that as an investment. I would absolutely count that as an investment. Um, Eight Paws, how are you? Not to change the subject, but I found at Canada has the biggest uranium mine in the world and the second most producer behind Kazakhstan. How does that affect my bags? Not trying to be funny. How does that affect my bags? Doesn't. In my humble opinion, it doesn't. Interesting, but interesting for something else. Doesn't it, I don't see how that affects my bags. But it does explain why Kazakhstan is in the news for simple stuff. Wow, Stanley invested in himself today. That's what's up. That is what's up. You got to use English, man. I can't read what you're writing sometimes. I can't follow the sentence. Don't quit. Learn from your mistakes is what I tell my kids. It's not many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up, that kind of thing. The future energy supply of the world. You think the future energy supply of the world is going to be uranium? Like, I'm not even playing. Seriously, you think it's going to be uranium? Interesting. I would like to ask you a question. Hydrogen, solar. No? I mean, wind. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. I know the guy. Well, I know the guy's brother who has a patent pending for the next level solar panels or solar technology. It's a technology that you could use literally to paint your car. You could paint your car with it and your car would charge just sitting there. Yeah, dead serious. That kind of thing. Because his brother sold me the solar panels. Or he sold me the solar panels and his brother is the guy with the patent. Real deal patent. And the problem is the materials. That's why we probably won't see it for another 20 years or something. But that tech is something that you can get there. Oh yeah, something else for energy. Fission and fusion. I don't think uranium is it. Food porn chef. Yes, that great. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, that's great. You have to give me more to go on. And alternative nuclear power plants. So you have the modular power plants, right? They're like mini nuclear power plants. That's true, but that's only here and now. But there's technology right now. It was a few months ago that I reported that they were able to use. I think it was either fission or fusion, and they were able to create more energy output than what they put in. That was the first time it happened. And so you're looking at a lot of people that are in the know putting their money in that kind of technology. I think nuclear is going to go by the way of the dodo. Dead serious. The other night, something else I thought about is take all that plastic and create diesel, cleaner diesel. You could do that. You could absolutely do that. And that's not a have to wait kind of deal. You could do that right now kind of deal. You could do that right now. How's that for crazy? So just saying, I hear what you're saying. I get it, but I think that's more for bombs. I don't think that's for energy. Really don't. I really think that goes for military use than anything else. Because there are too many alternatives that are cheaper. Hydrogen is cheaper. Yeah, but they're using hydrogen to actually create power, like powering cars. And all it does is let out a little bit of water. There's a company that has made liquid solar. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna have to look that up. Where you can spray your house. It was going to. Uh, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know about that. I was on the phone with this guy, listening to how you actually do his tech, and like so that the stuff is actually usable in regular day life. I've never heard of solar spray. Like, how would you? You're talking about a chemical that you would spray onto something, and then it would grab the energy, need to be connected via wires to push that energy into some kind of a battery, right? I've never heard of that one. I'd have to look that up. You have the company name? I'll do some research. Like, and I'm also wondering, well, was it vaporware? Were they talking about it and got funding and then it went away because they couldn't do it? Like the girl with the whole medical thing, that she was talking a lot of nonsense, and then at the end of the day she couldn't do it. So she went to jail for fraud. You know, the one with the deep voice, sounded like a dude. Definitely a woman. She had a baby, but she went to jail for fraud. Her boyfriend, who she had the baby with, I don't think he went to jail. Rich dude. However, the idea that she's talking about, we're actually not that far away from. It's that she wasn't doing it. I forgot the third. I can't remember the name of it. Third something. But back to the energy thing. I mean, fusion I can believe in. Fission and fusion I can believe in because real scientists are actually working on it. They proved to the scientific community that we got more energy out of that reaction than what we put into that reaction. That's a big deal. Dangerous. The whole hydrogen processing thing, not as dangerous as nuclear, any kind of nuclear. Not as dangerous as any kind of fission or fusion. Diesel made out of plastic, safe. You have to remember, some of these technologies have been around for a long time. They were just kept under boot. We were kept away from those technologies because it would have bothered people. It would have bothered people. Think about that. Well, certain companies involved in, energy. They didn't like some of these things. But imagine what you'd be able to do. Energy is our biggest problem. Our biggest problem is energy. Fission and fusion are technologies that, if that was to work, we're talking about the amount of it, like off of a transaction or process, you're going to produce so much energy that you could power cities with those reactions. And it's kind of like, well, damn. Like, that's the holy grail that they're chasing after. I just wonder. Now you got me curious. Liquid solar. But energy in the whole world, energy is the big problem. Liquid solar covers. No, that's like covers. Nah, I don't think I'm finding what you're talking about. Maybe liquid solar energy. If you find the company name, send it to me. I'm interested to find out what that is. Emerging technologies that store solar energy directly in chemical bonds of liquids for long-term transportable power. So that would be a new kind of battery, or to activate solar systems using fluids for heating. Huh. Interesting. Key innovations include molecular solar thermal energy storage, MOST, which stores sunlight for up to 18 years, and artificial photosynthesis to create fuels like hydrogen, methanol, or ammonia from CO2. There you go. Diana Mishler, welcome. And A pause. Thank you. Solid state is the idea of using lithium ion batteries in a solid state, not using liquid. Lithium ion batteries still have liquid in them. Solid state obviously means solid state. The idea of that is you can compress solid state batteries and in half the size produce the same amount of energy that you're getting in car batteries right now. Well, for EVs, in half the size. So imagine I can take one of those batteries and give you the same 400 miles that you're getting in that battery. Or I can give you two batteries and, same thing, and give you twice the mileage, which means that I can bring the cost of EVs down significantly. I can bring the cost of EVs down significantly. Something else that I was thinking about last night, after we were discussing it, is the idea of somebody creating their own drive-by-wire car just to move away from the major auto dealers that are out there or auto manufacturers that are out there so that these vehicles don't phone home. I think you're going to see different kinds of businesses spawn from the idea of there's going to be a kill switch in your car. These vehicles phone home all the time. There was a situation allegedly where somebody had their Toyota Corolla for about a year, got into an accident, and part of it was handled by insurance and the other part was supposed to be handled by Toyota. And Toyota balked because they said the person, not at that time of the accident, but had previously driven 75 miles per hour. Why are you collecting that kind of information? And where is it in your documentation that you can actually do that? See, so I won't buy a Toyota for many reasons. For many, many reasons. What is he showing me? Oh yeah, nice. I see what he's doing. Do we have one of my guys is still working, so I'm trying to get an answer from him. Caltech Solar Paint and Solar Window Technologies and Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology and Solarcrill, South Africa, EPFL, Solaronics, some of the tech being used to do it. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Mercedes, I thought Mercedes-Benz is one of the companies that's been mucking around with hydrogen. You have a lot of car companies, especially in China, that they're like kind of going, it's because of privacy. Zcash is going up because of privacy. Thank you for that. But you have a lot of car manufacturers that are looking for alternatives to fossil fuels. They really are. They're really trying to get away from fossil fuels in a big fashion because you're married to them. You're married to them. I think one of the biggest issues, I think car manufacturers need to stop thinking that they sell cars and that they're just selling really pretty shells and say, well, you can go get your batteries. You can change your batteries for Energizer or Duracell or whatever the heck, Rayovac. Go get your battery. Go do whatever it is you're going to do with your car. Go have fun. Bye. Run into a problem with your car. I need an electrician, not a mechanic. You ever think about that? I need an electrician, not a mechanic. I need a computer engineer, not a mechanic. At some point, they're going to have to give you the right to fix your car. And giving you the right to fix your car, it's sort of like Windows versus Linux. Proprietary operating system versus open source. Just saying. Just saying. Diana, military? I'm thinking military. If so, thank you for your service. You too, A-pause, but I think I've said that to you before. So yeah, I'm just looking at energy as we move forward. And I'm looking at energy, and I'm looking at privacy. That's why I was paying attention to Emlo's note about Zcash. Not really buying Zcash. I'm a Monero guy. But looking at it going forward, anything having to do with sovereignty, people are starting to realize, holy moly, I have to do what, when you buy your phone, not your phone, when it says it's powering off, put it in a Halliday bag, because I don't think it's actually off. Pay attention to these things. There's a lot. I just keep by old mechanic autos to not have so many tech issues, especially privacy. Yeah, it's phoning home like all the time. Rudolph Diesel designed a diesel on peanut oil. Okay, that didn't need that. That was a couple of days ago that they launched a credit card, by the way. Thank you, Diana. That was a couple of days ago, a few days ago that they launched that. I remember dropping an article about it. So that means you don't go to the site and read the articles? For shame. For shame. I'm hurt. Absolutely crushed. Yes, I'm a smart aleck. So in other news today, the IRS faces a 27% workforce reduction, meaning that it's highly possible that if a human being has to look at your tax returns, you could be delayed. You can definitely be delayed. So apparently Jamie Dimon and Brian Armstrong are not friends. Apparently they're not friends. I believe Brian Armstrong was sitting at dinner in Davos, and Jamie Dimon walked by him and pointed at him and was like, "You're full of shit." That's the story that's going around. You're full of shit. And I was just like, what? There's no love lost there. None. If Brian Armstrong ever wants to call a friend, that's not the guy. That's not the guy. I think the banking industry still has an issue with staking rewards. I think the banking industry, as I said the other night, I think the banking industry just has a problem with freaking showing up late to the dance. And all the cute ones being taken. Like, what was on your mind? What I'm saying is they don't want us to have free energy. But that's what I mean. But you have to say it like that. How you were saying it before made zero sense and unnecessary. Got to learn how to talk to people, man. It's wide audience. It's a very wide audience. But yeah, that's what I was saying before. The guy who did the clean diesel from plastic, he's been saying, I did not invent this technology. This technology has been around for a really long time. Remember, back in the day, everything was diesel. I did not invent this technology. The technology is cleaner than the diesel that they currently have. It tested cleaner. And he was basically able to do it out of his garage. So imagine if you actually mass produce this. If you were able to mass produce that, would you have plastic islands floating in the ocean? How disgusting is that? You'd literally be able to take this plastic and put it to good use. We can learn a little from them. They don't believe in tech. Hand tools, horse and buggy, like they're serious with that. Building on the floating refinery concept, turning ocean plastic into diesel via pyrolysis was interesting and very profitable. Imagine collecting all that plastic, just running through, collecting all the plastic, transporting it, not even doing something that's floating, because that takes a lot of money. Transport all that plastic back to something that's on land. Creating that diesel, holy moly. Clean diesel? Again, holy moly. But building a floating platform, even if you built the floating platform, still, holy moly. I mean, I don't know that I care about the floating platform, right? Because then I gotta build connectivity from that floating platform back to land, and that's the issue with that one. Or I could just have tankers show up and fill the tankers. I'd rather take the plastic and transport that shit. I think ultimately that would be probably cheaper, but either way, use the plastic. And by the way, stop creating plastic, or stop creating PFAs. You know, those things that never die, never go away, that we eat every day. Because for no reason, we keep putting it in plastic. We keep putting it in things. Like when I go to heat up my lunch, I don't do plastic. I don't do plastic. Nope. Don't trust it. Breaks down in heat. You can store things in plastic, but you shouldn't heat up anything in plastic because it breaks down and releases all that into the air. My man Max, thanks for letting us know you invested in yourself. Diana Mishler, have you invested in yourself today? I'm sure you know that that's the question. What the heck am I doing over here? There you go. That's better. Screen started blinking. What do you mean it is needed for industrial manufacturing? PFAs? I bet you it's not. I bet you they tell you it is. Excuse me. A lot of times what they say we need to do is not what we actually need to do. Going back to Hutanik's point, it's too many times they don't want us to have something, so they tell us something else. You know what I mean? Because the right people have to make the money. The right people have to maintain the power. That's what it comes down to. But the European Commission warned 12 EU nations of non-compliance with digital asset tax rules. Oops. Didn't know that. Binance is having issues again. They're being tagged again with helping with the October crash. And CZ's like, no, we didn't do that. We didn't cause the $19 billion crash and blah, blah, blah. It was an old rumor, and it's raised its ugly head again. I definitely do not believe everything that man says. I'm going to put it to you like that. I very much do not believe what that man has to say. Not all the time, right? Sometimes, okay, I get it. But yet not as clean as what he like wants you to believe. Just listen to him talk. I'm like, really, dude? Interesting. Sounds like you're kowtowing to a certain regime. Sounds like you might have been fibbing about that whole FTX situation. Just saying. They have a lot of money set aside if you get who they has a lot of money set aside. If you have billions for the Green Act, 25 million with 40 to 50% being granted could be paid back 4 to 5 years, earnings projected to 10 to 20 million a year. What are you talking about, though? So hint for everybody. By the time you see or hear what I'm talking about, you might be a few seconds behind. So I might be a few seconds ahead. So by the time I see your text, which I think is like that, I don't know what you're talking about. So you got to give me something a little bit more to go on. Been doing some deep dives. What is it, sir? That's my question. What is it? We need to slow down in America. I don't think it's a matter of slowing down. I think it's a matter of not getting in our own way. Diesel is a very interesting fuel. Very interesting fuel. In order to do it cleanly, you need like an additive for diesel to make it run cleanly, so it's not producing all that smoke and stuff. That's the blue stuff that I used to have a diesel Benz, and you put in this chemical and you use a little bit of chemical for like a year or something like that, and you go get it refilled and you keep going with your diesel car, and it comes out nice and clean. Diesel is interesting. Diesel engines are way more efficient than gas powered engines. I had a diesel Benz, and my son back in the day had a baseball tournament up in the Boston area. I live in New York. It's a 3-hour drive, solid. There and back a couple of times. Came back home, drove around. And I was like, oh, maybe I should fill up the car now. A little bit, depending on where you get your fuel, could be a little bit more, could be in line with regular, on a per gallon cost. But the mileage that you're getting, my diesel truck would get me over 700 miles per tank. Like literally, like no joke. And that's shaving down. That's coming down a little bit from the actual max that I had. About 700 miles per tank. I loved that car. That car was awesome. But it wasn't as bad as, doing an EV. But you did have to understand that not everybody's going to have diesel. You had to understand not everybody's going to have diesel. Is diesel better than electric? That's a good one. That's a really good one. Same space as an electric, but my diesel car drove farther than my electric vehicle. But I also had in my diesel vehicle, you oil changes, all that stuff that went along with it. Change your filters, do this, and everything that you had to do for some kind of combustion engine, you had to take care of. Electric vehicle, depending on which one you can get really good mileage, and that's it. You're gonna rotate your tires. The battery's gonna die sooner or later, but you're gonna rotate your tires for the life of that car. That's it. And the one thing that people should ask when they go buy an EV is, how easy is it to change the battery? How long does it take to change the battery? Like most people, like in general, most people, when you go buy a new car, you should ask about, well, what are the consumables and how much do they cost? Nobody asked that question. And they go buy like a Benz or an Alfa Romeo, one of these, expensive or exotic cars. And that's how you get taken to the. You buy a Bentley, you shouldn't be buying Bentley parts. You should be buying Audi parts because it's an Audi engine. Yeah. My brothers had two. And he's got no problem going to the store and buying some Audi parts. Because like the price difference is ridiculous. Electric, diesel, hybrids. No. Absolutely not. They both take up too much space. So no. What would be interesting is Ford is coming out with a technology where they're using their electric and gas hybrid. A lot of Chinese cars are doing the same thing. And they're saying, well, you put gas in the engine, and while you're driving using the gas is not powering your car. Your gas is powering the battery and can like almost double the distance that you're driving. And I'm like, oh, that's dope. Like, I wouldn't use the gas until I absolutely needed it. Like, I don't want gas in my vehicle, like, at all. I get the technology. I can go twice as far, the whole nine. I completely get it. I'll wait for solid state. Thank you. Two things I'll wait for: solid state, and that I can change the battery myself. I don't have to go to a dealership to change the battery. I think is it the Netherlands? It's one of those Nordic countries where they built a car where literally you can walk over and change the battery yourself. You just and then put the new one in. So your car is your car for as long as the parts work. You're driving by wire. How many movable parts do you have? The wheels. The wheels. But I don't know that I would want. There's a reason why they didn't do diesel and electric together, or hybrid diesel electric. Diesel's already efficient. The money wasn't there to do it. At least that's what one of the guys at Mercedes told me. He was like, yeah, doesn't pay. Does not pay. But I think probably within the next like 3 to 5 years, probably, you'll have way better cars. Question is, you'll have way better automobile technology, but is it going to be to your benefit to own a vehicle? Yeah, that's the conundrum. That's the conundrum. Diana, which man? Is it Rick Ritchie, Max Salas? Yeah, I don't think you'll be waiting until 2030 because China already has this technology. They already have a lot of the technology we're talking about right now. Solid state batteries, they're testing vehicles right now running solid state batteries. One of the coolest thing I saw, Chinese car, press a button and ejects the battery. Flock cameras. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. That's a technology thing I'm not going to talk about that. There's tech that you can get into, flock camera tech. But yeah, I'm not interested in shopping in stores that have stock, flock cameras in the middle of their parking lots. Lowe's, Home Depot, not interested in you. Not interested in you at all. I asked that a long time ago. I always wondered why no diesel motorcycles. Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. The engine that you would have to put on that motorcycle is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like, how would you drive that thing? It's like at that level. How would you? What? Yeah, nah. Because I would have bought it already. I would have had it already. Like, seriously, I'm not even playing. Yeah, I ride bike. I know where I am. We'll always need our own vehicles. No, not need. Want, I can believe. Need. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so about that. Should have. Yes. Not need, but should have your own vehicle. Yes. It would be it would be the ultimate crotch rocket. Like, seriously. But are you really running to the store on that bike? You're not doing that. Like, how would you even slow down enough to make a right-hand turn on a normal block? That kind of deal. Like, could it idle that slowly to make that turn? Yeah, it would be huge. It would be huge. Absolutely huge. Northern Ontario need. I could see how you could make an electric vehicle. Oh, it depends on this. Well, you have a scarce population, so yeah, you need. But the rest of the world, most cases, it's not a need thing. If you're living in the suburbs or inner city, it's not a need thing. It's not. But what I really want you guys to think about is the idea of not owning anything. I want you to think about that. Not owning anything. Cars, land. Don't pay your taxes in the United States and see how long you get to keep that land. That land isn't yours. Correct, Diana, but you never answered my question. I'm mad at you now. You said this man knows his stuff or something like that. Who is it? Rick Ritchie, Max Alice, The Hootanic, Trader G, Maverick, a unique new 1430cc turbocharged parallel twin diesel engine that's been developed for them by Rupert Baindle. Who's them? Again, you got to give the whole story. I don't know what you're talking about. Motorcycles or what? The company that can make a small diesel will make huge money. I don't think so. I absolutely don't think so. You want to know why? Because there are already companies that are doing hydrogen engines that are really small, that you can put in a small car that already exists, that can take you a long distance, and it's water. Again, we're talking about technologies that are really cool, but if I was looking forward at technologies that are coming, that are going to be more efficient, depending on your use case, solar, wind, plastic diesel, maybe, right? Absolutely hydrogen. And when those have been exhausted, you already have fusion and fission that are already coming. Yeah, but that's a 1430cc bike. Nobody's driving that, man. Nobody. Well, I would. My last bike was 1200 cc's. I'm a big dude, so that bike would be perfect for me. Rick Ritchie, are you calling me a Neanderthal? Is that what you're doing right there? You calling me a Neanderthal? Just joking. Yes, I did, and I invested in myself. That's what I'm talking about. No, you didn't. You didn't answer that question. You did not answer that question at all. Where are you? Needs versus wants. And then before that, it was the question. You know, this guy knows his stuff. Which one of the guys? There are a lot of guys here. I agree, city and suburb. Because I want you to think about this. If I live in the city now, skip the city, screw the city. If I live in the suburbs now, yesterday I took it beyond that. If I live in rural America, for New York, that's upstate, right? It's like 2 hours away, hour and a half, 2 hours away. I can send an electric vehicle there to get you and then bring you back, and it would cost less, than calling a car service, like far less. In Austin, a cab ride with a driver costs you $28. Same ride, driverless, costs you $5. And there you go. It sounds really nice, but we're not going to sit here and talk about that. We're talking about energy and what would be good to use. So I can use an SMR next to a data center that I may or may not need. Slap that next to it. It's got its own energy. Back that up with some solar, some wind, depending on where you are. If I'm talking about a vehicle, depending on the vehicle, I'm probably looking more hydrogen than anything else. I think hydrogen in vehicles is going to be the next big thing because it doesn't take a lot. You need it's a special engine that's in there or whatever, and I'm going to give you water? What happens in that? Is it a special tank that I have to buy? What is it? But I'm thinking that it's probably real quick to keep charged. You know what I mean? What do I have to do to put energy into that vehicle? So for something that's moving, I can absolutely see that being hydrogen. Temporarily, with all the plastic that we have on the planet, I can still see that clean version of diesel. Problem is, there's nobody doing that technology. They're all doing old diesel. They're not running that new clean diesel that this kid was doing with plastic. There's the rub. Shut up, Rick Ritchie. Yeah, I'm not gonna have a motorcycle conversation with you on the show, man. Just not. I love bikes, so that would be a long conversation. I'd want freaking pictures. I want video. So yeah, we're not gonna have that conversation. What about the Hindenburg? Old technology, man. What are you pointing at things that are way back when and old technology? You serious with that? That gas nonsense? You fatty. Who'd you sucker to give you a snack? Stitch is a ham. Because I gave him a snack earlier and now he's having another snack. Be quiet, A-Pause, because I know you're going to tell me, don't talk to Stitch like that. And also the batteries' environmental benefits are not as good as they advertise them to be when you look at disposal and mining costs for minerals. No, dead serious. That's why I'm saying, so hydrogen. But solid state, well, same problem though. Smaller, more efficient, but same problem. Oh, it costs us money to go get it and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. You're not going to say hello? You're just going to stuff your face and you're going to leave? You going to say hello? Come here. Up. Come here, uppy. No, he's going to sit down and he's going to want to get pet. He's a knucklehead. I tell him to come up and say hello, but he won't. Freaking ham. All right, you got your pets. Go upstairs. Go say hello to Tiffany. Go ahead. Go. Yeah, he's a pain in the tail. My dog. So yeah, you start to think about what are the energy things. I really think energy is going to be our biggest problem going forward. Everything is based on energy. You want a toothbrush? Energy. Everything you freaking buy needs to be plugged in and recharged. Everything. That's the way the world is moving. Aloha, Stitch. I know you talk to yours that way too. They're like freaking kids. But he suckered somebody into giving him another snack. I gave him a snack earlier. He didn't need another one. Fatty. It's not like he could tell you, nah, I had a snack already. And even if he could, he would never. That's like telling me, hey, Do you want that wine? He would never. Never, ever. All of them. Everything takes a charge. Everything takes a charge. Energy is our biggest problem. And I'm going to tell you now, that's the biggest separator. You control energy, you control a lot. Hence, we're still on fossil fuels. Hence, those that have a great amount of fossil fuels have a great amount of money. It's going to be our issue. Going to be our issue. What else is there? I don't think there's anything else that I need to pay attention to today. I think next week is going to be another week. I think it's going to be a clean week. Barring any difficulties that come out of the government, I think it'll be an easier week. I'm more on what effects on the water after it comes out is clean, because all our water is reused on our planet. Yeah. Water comes in, water comes out. Water is number one, right? Like, if you don't have water, you're not going to survive. But though they literally killed the electric car a long time ago. They literally killed the electric car. So, yeah. Anyway, water is a big deal. Finding space next to an aquifer, good thing to do if you're a doomsday prepper. But really, I'm thinking about what are the necessities for society to survive? Water, food, energy. How many people are really going to live without energy? That would be like thing number 3 to figure out is how do we have food? Okay. A lot of animals running around the forest. Great. So we'll have food. Water is right there in the river. Got to taste it, got to boil it, got to see what's going on. And then you're going to create energy. And if you create the right energy, you might be able to actually build a box that grabs moisture out of the air and produces water. Doesn't make the water. It literally just grabs it out of the air. So there's that. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you have a good one. Hope you liked what we're doing here. If you do, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this. Welcome, Diana Mishler. Thank you, 8 Paws. Everybody, was a great conversation. We covered a lot. I really want to run Friday Flips in this kind of way. It's just an open forum. We talk about something, and you can start to see how everything that we were talking about is something that's going to affect us in the future. And some of it affects us right now. But it's all about investing and helping us figure out what we need to invest in. Just saying. Did you know, and I'll leave you with this, did you know that there are some places where you're not allowed to collect rainwater? I kid you not. There are certain places in the United States where you are not allowed. It is illegal to collect rainwater. Dead serious. Let that one wash over you for a minute. No pun intended. None at all. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, smash the likes. Tell your friends about us. Go to growmybag.tv. Check out all the articles that we have there. Enjoy them while you can. I'll say it like that. If you're not a member, in a little while, you're not going to be able to read them all. You'll have to become a member. Membership is only $1. If you want to become a big bagger, that's $120 a year. A year. Just saying. Anyway, everybody have a great night. See you again Sunday. I mean, I don't think I'm doing a video tomorrow. We're still in the middle of testing. Like I said, one of my guys is still working. So there's a lot that we have to get done, that we're trying to get done as quickly as possible. We do have that class it's a master class on buying and selling businesses. We look at it, we take one class, 3 hours, and we look at it from the buyer side and the seller side each step of the way. And you'll be diving into the workbook that we've created that has all the calculations and all the inputs, outputs that you require to actually make good decisions on buying or selling a business. So that will be done. That will be held on February 21st at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a 3-hour course. It'll cost you $395. It will be, like I said, 3-hour course. You get membership to the site. You get membership to the private group the same way Big Baggers is a private group. This SMB group will also be private. So there's a lot of stuff to do. Anyway, everybody, I hope all is well with you and yours. I'll see you Sunday for the Sunday Roundup, where we review the past week and all the events that have happened and how they can affect us going forward. And we start to look forward at the events that we expect to happen, and we'll see what happens from there. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your day and have a good one. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.